have a few others popping on, but let's go ahead and get started for the sake of time.
Michelle, go ahead.
Yes.
I think, Michelle, did you want to start off with a couple things you wanted to mention?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. This is Michelle Denise. Might get a little confusing here. We got two Michelles this morning. Michelle Denise, I'm with Ticor Title. I know I've worked with several of you, but just wanted to tie something in before Michelle Ariano gets started. I have several different electronic ebooks that are available, and one in particular that comes to mind is the Buyer Seller Guide. If that's something of interest to you, I forwarded over a copy of the ebook to Travis. I think he'll have it in the back office available. And if there's other interests as far as ebooks or electronic forms and resources, you can always reach out to me. I have my contact information in the chat box there. But that's about it. I just want to say thank you so much for letting me be part of this. And if I can help in any way, from farming to marketing to resources, I'm here for you.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Michelle.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be in touch. All right, Michelle with 2 L's.
Okay. Thank you, Travis. Thank you for allowing me to come in and show you Zipforms. I'm excited to show this to you. So what I've done was I opened it up. Now this is the navigating bar right up here. Dashboard, this is the summary of everything that's going on, whether you have some tasks for the week, your sales, again, just an overview of everything that you have in your Zipforms. Let's just go down the line on this part. Here it says forms. So if we click on forms, then the forms will show up. All of the libraries would pop up here that you have in your system. So let me see, I'm going to bring this over so I can. Okay, so these are the forms. Now I am a member of the, Ticor of NMLS. So you see here where it has California Association of Realtors. If you arrow down, then you have all the other libraries that you have in your system will pop up. So I just wanted to show you those forms. Over here, I'm going to go back. One thing I want to start with is templates, and then go through the transaction and then do an email. So I wanted to show that to you. Clicking on templates. This is important because you want to set up your templates, and you can talk with Travis on what forms need to be in each one. You can name it buyer, you can name it seller. For now, I'm going to just go ahead and name it test. So I'm going to click on new, and then let's just select new listing. So these templates are important because when you set up a template, all the information would auto-populate throughout the form. So your information would auto-populate, your broker, your title, all the information would automatically auto-populate. So here I'm going to just do a test. Let me put test. I'm going to put list. Okay, I'm going to select the category. You could automatically have it apply to this template to a listing, residential, new transaction, or all the transactions, but I'm going to say no, do not automatically apply this template. And I'm going to click on save. Once you've created it, you're going to want to put and add forms into it. So you can add documents by clicking on here. If you have outside documents, you can bring it in. You can apply a template that's already in there, so you can combine templates. But what I'm going to do is add. It says you are currently modifying. Click here if you wanted to create a new listing. Here are all the forms right over here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go ahead and click on cancel. Let's do that one more time. Go back to templates. Click on. Here's my test. Open this up. I'm going to go ahead and click on the templates here. I'm going to select cover sheet, and I'm going to add the listing agreement. Okay, so now I have the cover sheet and the listing agreement. If I click on the cover sheet here, it will pull up and load the cover sheet. And here I could add any information that will auto-populate and be a template. So anything that you type in here will be in all of the transactions that you pull this template to. So if I scroll down a little bit more, obviously the property information will be different. So there's a lot of things that will be different, but perhaps escrow information may be the same. If you scroll down, maybe lender information will be the same. It just depends. But title information may be the same. So here is where you could type in Ticor Michelle Denise. It automatically saves, so you don't have to keep hitting save, but here is a save button if you'd like to click on save. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on back. Same thing with the residential listing agreement, clicking on here. If you open it up, you can checkbox things that you want, that you know you're always going to be checkboxing, or adding your information, your license number, your, any information that you would like, you can add that in here. So any of the forms, this is where you would do it under your templates. You would add the answers to, in other words. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on transactions. Now we're going to start a new transaction. So I'm going to click on transactions. So I'm on that tab and I'm going to click on new. I'll go ahead and select new listing. And I'm going to name it. And in this case, I'm just going to name it again, a generic Main Street. And let's go ahead and pick that. So 123 Main Street. But what's nice about this, you can go ahead and add the listing to it. So if you click here under MLS Listing Connect, you can then type in an MLS ID number. Travis, do you happen to have an, oh, I have one right here. Let me pull one up because I must have typed one in previously. You type in an MLS listing ID number, and then you can click on include property info photo, and then you click on find, and it would automatically pull up that listing and all the information from the MLS. Let's use that listing. This is the status. You can keep it active. You can select the templates that you have. Remember that test list, the one that I did this? I can go ahead and click on that, type in any comments I'd like, then you can click save. Okay, that should then go ahead, transact. Oh, did I not type it? I must have forgot to type, to select residential. Now I can click save. Perfect. So now the information from the MLS automatically came in. So you can see if you scroll down a little bit more, you have the assessor's parcel number, the year built information that is in the MLS that pulled up, listing price. Okay. On the left, you have the parties. Because this is somebody's listing, it automatically pulled up the listing agent and the information. So you have that in here. If you wanted to add any documents at this point, you can just by clicking on add document. And then you browse and locate on your computer. And I selected just a sample form, an AVID form. Click OK. And now you see it's in here. If you wanted to add more forms, you just click on all forms, and then you could go ahead and go into the library and then select more forms. And I'll just select the first one here. So at any point, you can organize this as well. So for example, if I click on here, I can just click on organize, and then I can just bring it up if I choose to. So maybe I want this in this order. Click on done organization. So let's open one up. All right, so remember if we had put this, let's say this checkbox is something that we always checkbox in this this form here, the disclosure regarding real estate agency relationship, then you would do that in the template, so it automatically will do that and saves time from having to do it each time. But you can check things. There's also the fast fill. You can click on here. This is great because by filling out the information here, it would automatically populate throughout the form as well. So now you know maybe the address, the your client's information, your phone numbers, all that information would automatically pull up if you type it in here. Okay. So now that we have the transaction already created, if we wanted to go ahead and get the client to sign this, you can click on esign. And on esign, you can select documents to include by clicking on here and then checkboxing the ones you want to include. And I'll just check all of them. Click on close. And over here is the next button. You also have, before I go on, right here, it's digital ink. That's the defaulted digital ink that is in Zipforms, but many of you might have digital ink, or you might have docusign, something like that. You can select that and choose which service you'd like to use just by clicking on this arrow down. Whatever your drop down menu shows, you can select.
Now, I have DocuSign. If I were to connect that in there, does it still template out all the signature tabs?
Yes, actually, I will show you afterward. You would actually go into my settings, and you would select DocuSign as your preference signing service. And then
Okay.
it automatically would default right here to say DocuSign. But you can choose and toggle back and forth if you like.
Okay. And do I have to have the templates already done inside my DocuSign account, or is it just going to connect somehow?
It's actually using the signing service only. So you would have to put that template in here where the templates are, because we're using Zipforms. So DocuSign will just be the service you're using. In other words, right now we're using digital ink, but we're just using that service.
Okay.
So you're not going outside, logging in. It'll just use that.
So I would still have to drag and drop all the tags, all the signature tabs?
You, in DocuSign, if you do what I just did with the templates, then it'll automatically show up just like the digital ink will. I'll show that to you in a minute.
That's good.
Clicking on next. So I'm going to take George out because he's a real listing agent and I don't want him to get this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on his name. And I'm going to, actually, I want to take him. Let me go into the create new first, and then when I have all of the names, then I'll go ahead and actually I can go ahead and type in. Let's add it. Let's create myself. I'm going to go ahead and put my name. Oh, that's the first name. And then I want last name. So you could create and put a role, and I'll put seller, and I'll put my email. Here it is. And add myself as a signer. You can create more people just by continue adding more signers by clicking on here or just close. Okay. So here's another option too to add more signers. You can add a reviewer. So person that's going to just be viewing this and just reviewing it and not actually signing, you can add that person as well just by clicking on here and adding them. You can select it in the signing order. If you have multiple people, you can say, I want Michelle to see it first and maybe Travis to see it second, and that kind of thing. You can do that, or you can even combine them when you have multiple people, and you could say, I want both of them to see at the same time. Once you have your signer here, you click on Next. What did it say? Submission failed. Let's go back. Let's see why. Clicking on here, hitting Next. Okay, I've got seller 1. Search for parties. Michelle. Okay. All right, that should be a save. So let's see what didn't save that. Yeah, I'm in here twice. I don't know why I did that. So let's go ahead and let me move you right here because I have you right over here so I can delete one. Okay. All right, so I hit next and here it goes. All right, so this is the file, the forms that we decided to send. So if you have the signer here, if you have multiple signers, you'll have a drop-down menu, and then you could toggle back and forth and have that person sign with a name. So you could specifically do that. If you wanted, if you scroll down a little more, it automatically populates where they are going to be signing. If you wanted to have a different mark or an additional signing or a checkbox, you can click right on that little pin right here, and then where it says sign here, you would just drag it, click on it and drag it, and then place it anywhere here. And I'm just going to place it anywhere. Okay. You also have it, you can do a markup. You could say, I want you to, I'm going to put here a little text box, and you can type information in, please review, or whatever you'd like to put down. You could also emphasize something just by clicking on one of these and bringing it over.
Real quick, I think you need to reshare your screen. Yeah.
Did I lose you? It says you are sharing screen.
Yeah, we're on, it looks like a cover sheet right now.
Refresh, should I refresh?
Maybe.
Because it says you are screen sharing.
No, we can see your screen, but it's not the screen that you're showing us.
Really?
Yeah, it's on the.
Is what you're seeing?
Yeah, now I see your cursor. Yep.
Okay, so let me go ahead and toggle back to the screen that I was on. Can you see this one here? This is the disclosure regarding.
Nope, it's still the same one.
Okay, so let me minimize this. How about now?
No, still the same one.
Okay, so let me go ahead and it does say that it paused. Resume sharing. How about now?
So we're on, now I see your cursor again.
Okay. New share, let's share this one. Okay, now it is. That's
There
weird.
we
It
go.
paused
All
it paused the other screen for some reason. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no
All
problem.
right.
So now we're on the form.
So we're now on the form. So these are, okay, so you can drag and drop just by clicking here, selecting which which you want as a sign or a checkbox, and then you just bring it over. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that just so that I can bring something over. If you click right on it, you can always hit delete right over here just to delete it. Scrolling down, I had added this one. I can click here and delete it or move it. Okay, there's also a markup. This is nice because if you want to emphasize something, you can click on here and or checkbox any of these. Let me click right on it. Oh, here it is. Are you still seeing my screen? It's showing that it's not. Okay. So you can emphasize or you could type in a text. So you could say, see, you know, see, review or see this or something, whatever you'd like to put down. But there are places that you could put that text in. So you have a text box here. And then this one is not pulling up. Let's see, zoom. Okay, so this right over here is where you can select pages by going, you know, to the next page if you would like to do that, or you can scroll down, or you can select this arrow down and you can go straight to page 12. Okay, so that's another navigating bar over here. You can always, you don't want to, but you can clear everything by clicking, going to that options. And if you hit clear, it's going to go ahead and clear all of those drags and or all of those signing or initially. Okay, but that's an option. So if I scroll down, you can see that all of them are automatically pulled in for you to sign. Okay, if I click on this arrow down, then I would have more people I would like to sign, and then I could select on that name, and then it automatically will have them sign. So if you have a seller 1, a seller 2, and so on. Okay, once you get that and it automatically shows up, you click on next. And then this is where you can customize an email by clicking on here. And you can type in, you know, the subject form to sign. Oops. Whatever you'd like to put a message, please review and open up and sign. Click on save, and then you can send that invitation. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up my email. And in a second, it should pop up. While we're waiting for that, oh, there it is. Okay, so I go ahead and click on it. As the recipient, I would click on that email because I'm waiting for the agent to you to send it to me. I could click start signing. And this is how easy it'll be when your client sees it. You can adopt a signature, which is one of these signatures. You can draw, they can choose to draw their own signature just by clicking on here and seeing what a great signature they might have. I'm going to close that, but they have that option. They could select font styles. Okay, so once you do that, they would click on accept. And if they scroll down, they would just click right on it and it automatically will, actually you can go next. And then it'll take you to that specific area where they need to sign. It automatically will show up a date because you put that in here. And then they would just go ahead and go through that whole, I think there's 18 pages, so we won't go through all that. But once they go through all that, then they could go ahead and oh, I guess I have to. And they go through all of that, and then they click on exit, and it'll send back. I should have selected a smaller form, right? Or one page. Okay. Complete signing. Thank you. You successfully reviewed and signed. Click on OK. Complete. All right. So let me go back into the form. There it is. All right. So on your dashboard, before right here, it says e-signings in progress. And so it would show you that they're signing and then sending it back. So in a minute, when you do get that, it'll show up in your inbox that they have signed. So you'll be able to see those. But that's the way to send it out. Was there any questions on how to send an email, an e-sign through Zipforms?
Don't see any yet. They might be typing.
Sure,
Do you know how to attach the photos to the AVID form?
Okay, so you can attach documents into here. The AVID form, attach a photo into the form and then put it in here.
Correct. I think you might be on the other screen again too.
Okay, let me see where I'm at. It says you are sharing. I'm on the dashboard right now.
We're not at
Is
the
that what you're
dashboard.
seeing?
We're before that at the Access Zipforms page in
Mhm.
CAR.
Let me minimize that. You see it. And resume sharing. I'm sharing that car. All right, so let's see here. A new share, and I want to share this one here. All right.
There we go.
So a form. So if I pull up the AVID form, is that what your so let me pull up AVID.
Correct. So
The AVID form, here it is. So this is the AVID form. What you wanted to?
yes. So sometimes we have agents who take photos as well, and then they attach them to this form. So do you know how to?
So you
do
could
that?
bring in photos, but it needs to be in as a document. So this is just a folder that you bring in all of the information. So photos though, I'm not sure about a specific photo that you would just, I mean, you could bring in it as a file.
So it would need to be a
Just by
PDF.
bringing it in as a doc. Right, but you're saying that they would bring it in as a photo, like onto this page?
It attaches onto the page. It's not on the page, but it attaches with that particular document as part of the document. They'll just be like photo uploads.
Oh, look here. I haven't done that. So this is how to do it. That's perfect.
Okay.
Right
There
over
we
here
go.
where it says more,
Okay.
attach photo. Oh, nice. And then you would just select the photo and bring it in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. No, I didn't know about that. That's awesome, Travis. I didn't know that you can pull that up with that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. Thanks for stumbling across and finding it.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
all right. So does anybody, let's see, Steve's asking outside forms.
Okay, so outside forms, we talked about going into the documents. I'm going to say, yes, I will lose those changes. Cancel here. Let me go back into. Let me share that correct screen. And that would be,
All the pop-ups make it difficult for Zoom sharing when we're in here.
right, there we are, and then share. Okay, so if you wanted to add the documents, here is documents. And then you can add a document into your inbox, or you can go into the transaction that you were on and add the document for that transaction. Is that what you were specifically?
Potentially. So this
wanting to
is,
do?
yeah.
So I clicked right on the transaction. And these are all the documents. And you can add a document by clicking on here, browsing on your computer, pulling it up, and then click OK. And I think I already have that in here, but I just added a new version. There it is.
All right.
2 versions. But that's how you add the documents. So you can add the document to even your template if you would like, if there's a specific document that you would always want to be as a selection when you're doing a transaction, or you can do it within its specific transaction.
So maybe like an LAD form or the environmental hazard or something.
Right, or just add the forms. If it's not in here,
Yeah.
then yes.
Okay.
You can select one of these forms from the form library or add it in here, like you mentioned.
Okay. Cool. I don't know if anybody else has questions. I think that was pretty thorough. So the MLS Connect is something I don't use, but I definitely will start using that. So I know some of us have been
Awesome.
using, Zipforms for so long, and they didn't have these features when we first started. So we just continue using it at the same level as when we started. So I know that's my issue.
Exactly. Well, I want to show you, because you had mentioned DocuSign, and maybe some agents might have difficulties actually doing an e-sign because they don't realize what signing service they are on. So if you click on me and then you go to profile and settings. Okay, and where you go into settings right here. And this is where you could select DocuSign or digital ink. And perhaps that's why it's not going through, because I've had people ask me, how come I can't do email e-signing? It's not going through. And this could be why.
Okay.
You need to select which one you're using. So this will default if you select it here. This is where you would select it. All right, so again, it's under me, and then you go to profile and settings, and then you select settings, and that's where your e-sign options are.
Okay. And then what is the assistant and transaction coordinator function?
Oh, that's where you bring it in. You invite that transaction coordinator.
Okay. And so then if you have an outside transaction coordinator, they can come
Coordinator.
into this file or all the files?
Exactly, into this file.
Okay.
Actually, this will be, you're giving them option to come into all files, but you could select which ones, because you could also select, let me look under the dashboard here, make sure you're still. Here it is under partners. No, I'm sorry, not partners. Under, let's see where it would be. I don't have any, but it would show up on your dashboard that you could see the transactions that you're in that somebody else invited you to, like the other agent. That shows up here on a tab, but right now it doesn't show on this dashboard. It shows up when you first log in.
Okay.
But yeah, you can invite your transaction coordinator, and you could choose which one, because you may have a transaction coordinator only working on a specific form, and it will a specific transaction, and it will allow you to just say, I want the transaction coordinator to be involved in this transaction.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's useful
think
too.
it's under
I think I'm gonna,
Here they are. Under transactions, where it says my, you can say transaction shared with me, or you could say my
Okay.
transactions.
okay.
Mhm.
I think that's probably it. Are there any integrations that you recommend that make life easier? I saw that there was some on one of the previous pages.
Yeah, well, I think if you have your contacts in there, I think that makes it a lot easier. If you go on to your cover page, if you have a cover page, filling that out first would make your life a lot easier because it auto-populates throughout the forms. So I think that's the key right there, is to fill out as much as you can on your cover sheet and at the beginning, and include that in your transaction. Many
Okay.
people don't, just because it's an extra page, but by doing that, it'll auto-populate throughout the forms, and it's really a good time saver. Also using the templates and creating that template where, the repetition of your license number or whatever it may be, getting that set up so that you don't have to look for that address of, Michelle Danae's address for title, that kind of thing. So you'll want to make sure that that's all there, escrow or somebody that you use, because you do have contacts, but if they're not in that template, you still have to add them. And this way it automatically will be in a template. And one thing too, I have agents always go into templates and start that, using that as the transaction. You don't want to touch the templates. You want to just bring a template into a transaction, not change the templates as the transaction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I had an agent doing that a while back, and I couldn't figure out why it kept getting messed up. But yeah,
It's
that
because
was the reason.
they went into the templates and started making those changes, and then every single transaction that they were in, it was populating that change of, it already had a buyer's name, it already had a seller's name, or whatever it may be. So you'll
Yeah.
want to make sure the templates, you bring them and apply them to a transaction, but do not touch the templates unless you're making the change permanently.
Okay.
And you can
And-
you can add multiple templates, as you saw.
Yeah. And then what does the tasks tab do?
Okay, so these are tasks that are assigned to you, and it has a responsibility party. It has what's due. So in your transaction, you would have a list of what is, if there's, a signing required or whatever it may be. So it'll give you your checklist of your to-do list. That's what it is.
Okay. And then Zipforms calendar, is that going to sync up with any timelines and send out notifications or anything?
So here you have, okay, so the Zipform calendar will show up like all your tasks and your timelines. It will show up, but there's also, because there's multiple calendars, so you may see the other calendars, like they even have training calendars too for Zipforms and other things too. So you might stumble across those calendars. But yes, your task calendar will show up under Zipform calendars.
Okay. And do you have to manually input those dates?
No, it automatically populates those.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Awesome. Steve just asked, is DocuSign easier than digital ink? I think it's more of a preference thing.
It's
I'm
a
not sure.
preference thing, because there was a time before digital ink, there was a third party, well, actually it was included in, I can't remember what it was called now, it's been so long, but it didn't work very good. So most agents use DocuSign, and it was a free inside Zipforms too. And we were so used to it because it worked and everything flowed easy. I didn't have to drag and drop each signature. It was great. So we got used to and depended on DocuSign. And so over the years, a lot of agents are still on DocuSign, because you can do outside signing as well as Zipform signing. So it's just something, but then you have to pay for it. So that's the difference now. Digital ink works wonderful now, and they've really upgraded it, and it does its thing. It's fine, but DocuSign, we are used to it, and I know that a lot of agents know about it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of those, and I think that's why I still use DocuSign now, is because, you know,
It's
when they first
dependable.
integrated it, it didn't work that well, and so I
Right.
just kept my Zip or my DocuSign account and just kept plugging along with that. So
And now you have to pay for it, but before you didn't when you first got on DocuSign, right? I think it was.
yeah, yeah, and I
They
think
just
they
hooked
bumped.
us, you know?
They did, I know. So I mean, I've been using it for so long, I just keep using it because I'm used to it.
Right. And it's
So,
easy and you know how. So,
yeah,
but digital ink is user friendly, and you know, but again, it's your preference.
yeah, definitely. Great. Well, I don't see any other questions in the chat. I do
Wonderful.
appreciate you coming on and giving us a thorough walkthrough on this. I think the MLS Connect's great, so you don't have to kind of have MLS open as well as, you know, Zipforms to be going back and forth and trying to find the, you know, the co-op agent or the listing agent's office info and stuff like that. So
Right. Okay, well, perfect.
right.
So you just have to know the MLS ID number. So once
Yep.
that, you type that in, and then you can select that and bring it in.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you,
That was
Travis.
really
Thank you,
informative.
Michelle.
Yeah.
And thank you all for attending.
Yep. Thanks a lot. We'll see you later.
Okay, bye.
Okay. All right. Bye.